This video is about Lev Vygotsky, a Russian psychologist born in 1896. His theory of social constructivism is one of the most important ideas in language teaching, and also just in general in education. So let's start with a quote. What does this mean? What a child can do in cooperation today, he can do alone tomorrow. So I want you to think about it, and then pause the video and write a short answer on the note-taking paper that I gave you in class. Let's start with Vygotsky's famous idea called social constructivism. Construct means build. So this is the idea that we construct knowledge and learn language through interaction with others, that learning is a social act. How does social constructivism work? Well, it's all about the ZPD. ZPD means zone of proximal development. Proximal means next. The ZPD is the difference between what a child or learner knows now and what he or she might know with assistance from other people. So Vygotsky was most concerned with how people help each other to build knowledge. How does someone go from their current level of knowledge to a new, higher level of knowledge? Through something called mediation. This assistance helps us to reach new heights of learning. Mediation is help from other people. So the difference between what you know with or without help from other people is called the zone of proximal development. One more time. The zone of proximal development is the difference between what we know now and what we can know with help from others. This is the space in which all real learning happens, the best learning. Let's look at an example. Here's Timmy. Timmy is a young boy who's just started to play with puzzles. Currently, he can put a few puzzle pieces together, maybe 4, but now he wants to complete a bigger puzzle, and he's having a hard time doing it by himself. His mom comes along and sees that he's having a hard time, so she gives him a tip. Why don't you put all the pieces in groups by color? So he does it. Then he watches his older sister, she's next to him, putting together her own puzzle. He notices that she's put all the flat pieces on the outside, and he does that too. Finally, after it's almost done, his dad comes along and says, "Hey, this looks like a cloud over here. You should put all the white pieces in this area." This is the last form of mediation that he needs to help him finish his little puzzle. If Timmy had worked by himself, he wouldn't have received all this useful mediation, and he wouldn't have reached his potential ability. In other words, he wouldn't have learned in his ZPD. Now, the next time he wants to do a puzzle, he can do it with greater independence. Here's another example of social constructivism. This video shows social constructivism in the classroom. Watch what happens when these 2 young students work together to read a book.
Okay, kinds of texture. Texture is the way
Do you need help?
Yes, please.
Okay, well my mommy taught me to do it like this. If it's a big word, try and break it down into 2 words. So if I break it down into this, do you know what this word says?
Some.
And what about this word?
Thing.
Yeah, so if we put it together,
Something.
yeah!
Without help, this girl can only read short words. However, her friend gave her some mediation or help by giving her a useful tip. Also, the friend encouraged her not to give up. These things help the girl reach her potential ability or reach a new level. And maybe she'll use those tips in the future to be more independent when reading. So the friend helped her in the zone of proximal development. So let's review some key ideas. Social constructivism says that we build knowledge and learn with the help of others. This help is called mediation. Mediation comes from adults, like parents or teachers, or from other students. The common theme is that this mediation happens through talking, and the difference between what someone can do with or without help is called the zone of proximal development. Once the student has reached the top of this zone, he or she will be more independent the next time, and that's what learning is. Now think about this. If we always teach students at their current level what they can do without help, they will never learn anything. This is going to make them really bored and unmotivated. But also, if you teach them things that are too hard to understand even with help, they will be frustrated and they will give up and be very unmotivated. So to motivate students and give them confidence, you have to teach them in the ZPD, the space for what they can actually do with help. And of course, you have to help them do it. This is the motivating place for them to learn. It challenges them at the right level. So, as a teacher, how can you use these ideas? So to have a social constructivist classroom, you need to think about a few things. First, know your students' levels. What's too easy, too hard, or just right with help? You want to give your instruction at the just right level. Second, think about this. How will you give them mediation as a teacher? What will you say to them to help them understand better? And finally, how can you get other students to help you to mediate? This is the power of group work and pair work. And I really recommend that you put students in mixed ability pairs and groups. For example, in this group, there are 2 higher students, one who's really high, one who's a little less high. And then there are 2 lower students, a really low student and someone who's kind of medium low. So in this group, the higher students are going to mediate for the lower students. Now in your classroom, you have many teachers, not just one. So let's revisit this slide, this quote. What does it mean to you now? Could you use Vygotsky's language to explain what it means? Try to use the words on the right side to write a short explanation on your note-taking paper and compare it with what you thought before. I hope you learned some useful new concepts. And if you have questions, please write them down and we'll discuss them in class. See you then!